edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I am your host, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P. Bush. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Just ramping up those fantasy mock drafts. We're talking about pre-production.
Yes,
I think we're all just trying to feel it out because this is going to be a weird-ass year, as we've mentioned a couple times.
Oh, man, it's been beautiful, man. Been mocking all day, all weekend, all weekdays, every night, every morning, man. Not gonna lie, one night I was bored at 2 a.m., did a mock draft. I just did it, man. I couldn't fall asleep.
Everyone on AutoPick Zoo at 2 a.m.?
Oh, no, surprisingly, they were going for it, man, at night, man. These are the hardcore people,
those
man.
West Coasters.
Oh, must be, man. But, oh, man, I've been diving back into it. Got multiple company leagues of doing. Previous employer, current employer, I'm the commissioner for all of them. So got my work cut out for me, man. And I need to get that dub, man. I need some first place trophies again this year, man. First place. No more third place. No second place. I only want first place.
You need that gold, not the bronze.
Mm-hmm. I don't want no penny. I want that second Joea gold, man. That's what I want.
But it's all
whatever. I want that second Joea gold.
But yeah, man. I mean, it's ramping up this time. I know Sean's got a couple too. He's been doing.
Yeah, I've only done two. Only done two mock drafts. I got to get on it, but I will say that it is this year's. It's a whole lot more anticipation with fantasy. We're going to be getting into that a little bit later in the podcast. But first off, we wanted to start with one of our division talks, and we kind of shifted over to the NFC West. As you guys and everybody who's watching this should know, the LA Rams won the Super Bowl last year. So I think a lot of people are kind of, I wouldn't say pinning them in, but putting like something with permanent, maybe pencil, who knows, putting them in as the favorites to the league. But there's a lot of interesting storylines, especially with one team like the 49ers. So I wanted to ask the guys, where do they see the NFC West? Who are some newcomers? What are some situations that may arise? And people, I'm going to start with you.
This is tough, man. I mean, I think the two biggest ifs, I think we kind of know the top end. I think we know it's going to be the Rams. I think they have the lowest floor, or the highest floor, I should say, record-wise. They do have the toughest schedule, and rightfully so. I mean, you're coming off a Super Bowl win. Outside of the division opponents, I think they got to play the entire AFC West once. That's not easy. They have their first games against the Bills. They have games against the Cowboys, Packers, and Bucks. So
prime time, baby, prime time.
Yeah, I think they added Allen Robinson. I thought that was a nice addition. Hopefully, he'll flourish much better than he did in Jacksonville and in Chicago. Matthew Stafford probably, I think they'll kind of use him as the OBJ type gap, right, where his status is still a bit up in the air. With playing with the Rams, but I am eyeing the Niners and the Cardinals, man. Niners specifically for Trey Lance. I mean, they just don't seem to know what they're doing with Jimmy G. I think his contract is just not enticing at all for any teams, especially when you take into account his play. But if Trey comes in and he plays well, I think his rushing attack and ability, that's something Kyle Shanahan will take advantage of in his scheme. Mm-hmm. Using him and Debo, Elijah Mitchell. They got a couple other guys that they can utilize, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, obviously. So I think that this team, they might get off to a slow start if Trey starts. But if Jimmy G plays, I mean, he's not the greatest, but he took him to an NFC championship. They've, last year, they've been to a Super Bowl with him. He's not a scrub. So this team is really good. I think there's just some question marks about their floor to ceiling just with this quarterback situation. And same thing with the Cardinals, man. They always start hot. And then midseason comes around.
They get figured out, allegedly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they got pummeled by the Rams last year in the playoffs, which I think everybody kind of saw coming. But with this D-Hop being out the first 6 games, I think they'll get off to a slow start this time around, and maybe they'll pick it back up towards the tail end of the season and midway through. So, I'm kind of toying between wild cards between those two. I think the Rams will lock it up. But I do think we're going to have at least one wild card representation out of the NFC West this year.
Man, dude, this division, man, I'm going to get this team out of the way. The Seattle Seahawks, they absolutely do.
Yeah, you can do that, Zoo.
Football, man, Pro Football Focus, the worst offensive line in the NFL. Good luck.
Thank you. It's not the Bears.
Good luck. Oh, yeah. Oh, they're bottom 5, though, man. They
did take a first-round tackle, but it tells you something because they took a first-round tackle and it's still the worst line in the league. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, good luck, Rashad Penny, man. Yeah. Good luck, because that dude was a stud last year, man. But with this offensive line, no Russell Wilson, good luck, man. Good luck with Drew Lock and Geno Smith. Good luck with those
Geno.
quarterbacks down there. Seattle fans, you already got a Super Bowl in the last decade, so you're gonna be have go through this. Yeah, go through this hellish.
Should have had two.
Yeah, true that, man. But so they're gonna have to go through a little hell, fantasy football or football hell right now. So bye Seahawks. They might win 2 games this year, man. 2 games
in that division too.
Yeah. Tough division. My God, Seattle
playing the AFC West.
Exactly, completely irrelevant. The rest of the teams, man, not gonna lie. The Rams, obviously, favorite. I don't even need to think about it, man. Yeah. Don't even need to think about it. Like they lost Von Miller. That's defensively. That's going to really impact their defense. But you look at the competition. The 49ers, man. Trey Lance, I'm not buying Trey Lance yet, man. I'm not the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo fan. Sure. I think he's an average, maybe a little below average starting quarterback in the NFL. But Trey Lance, man, this guy needs major improvement in his throwing abilities. The lack of confidence is startling for an NFL quarterback that was drafted in the top 3. It's just a lack of confidence. The body language. Yeah, they traded up. Like this guy, he's a great runner. Like as a running quarterback, he'll be great at running. But the confidence in the throwing motion, they talk about how they're trying to adjust it. I'm just like, oh, that just sounds like a natural disaster, man. Try to adjust your throwing motion, man. You're an NFL quarterback in the top 3. You should be adjusting your throwing motion, man. So good luck with that, man, because they got everything else.
Everything.
It's incredible. Like. From the offensive talent, you got Debo re-up, man. Congratulations, him $70 million, $58 million guaranteed. Shout out to Debo Samuels, running back / wide receiver. The dude legit plays 2 positions. Yep. George Kittle, like Brandon Ayuk, cute little wide receiver player. So they got good old line. Good, Elijah Mitchell came out last year to balled out. Good offensive line, good defense. They have it all. But that QB situation, man, like they went all in on Trey Lance, man. I feel he's going to bite them in the butt. Do you know what it reminds me of? A little reminds me of Mitchell Trubisky for the Chicago Bears.
They had everything else.
Yeah, man, just a little. It just reminds me of it, man. Running quarterback, good, big, strong, physical, man.
Come on.
The lack of it just gives me shades of that Mitchell Trubisky, who's on his 3rd team already, his 3rd team, 2nd overall pick on his 3rd team already. Good luck to him in Pittsburgh. But man, oh man, the Trey Lance just gives me that vibes right now. So they're the bottom 3. They're number 3, man. And the Arizona Cardinals, I got them out of the playoffs. No playoffs for them. No wild card for them.
Really?
Kyler Murray, man, big baby, man. The dude looks like a baby. He needs homework assigned like a baby.
So he looks
like a kid. Oh, he looks like a big toddler, man. And he acts like a toddler. Yeah, homework. Man, stop it. You're embarrassment in the playoffs. Embarrassing. Just absolute embarrassment. I was watching that game, and I was just so embarrassed for them. And, like, the team is loaded on offense. Just loaded. Like, James Conner last year was, like, the best red zone guy, like, ever. Like, in the 10-yard line, this dude just got tutties, man. James Conner, shout out to James Conner for being healthy last year and getting it done. The offensive weapons out there, man. Lots of tools, man. Obviously, no more D-Hop for the first couple of weeks. He got his boy Marquise Brown
from Oklahoma.
They play college ball together, so hopefully they can make a connection. I don't know, man, but Marquise Brown drops a lot of balls, man. Drops a lot of balls, and Lamar Jackson liked him, but let's see if Kyler Murray can maximize his ability as more of a pass-first QB, even though he could also run. But Kyler Murray's intangibles, he got none. He just got none of them, man. And I'm disappointed in him because he got all the talent. The only thing that sucks about Kyler Murray is he's a short guy for an NFL quarterback. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
But he's fast, and that kind of makes up for it.
He's like a little mouse.
Super athletic.
He's like a little mighty mouse out there, like Tom and Jerry. He's like a little Jerry running around on the football field, man. That's what he reminds me of when he skedaddles, man. But the intangibles, the leadership ability, the lack of accountability, not a fan of Kyler Murray. Will not be on my
You have him missing. You have him missing the playoffs.
I have them missing the playoffs. The coach, whatever. You
think more because of DeAndre or because of Kyler?
What?
You think it's more because they don't have DeAndre, or it's because you just don't believe in Kyler anymore?
I don't believe in Kyler Murray. I don't believe in Kyler Murray. I don't believe in the head coach. I think the head coach is definition of replaceable head coach.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
He's just whatever. He's a head coach, whatever. Kyler Murray, lack of intangibles, lack of leadership. I need my leadership in my QB position, man. Especially getting coherency with this offense, man. So, especially implementing new offensive weapons.
Yeah.
I want a leader. And I don't think he's a leader, man. He's just a big baby out there, man. He's just a big baby.
Yeah, he doesn't take the reins and kind of guides Marquise Brown.
Man, he just wants to play Call of Duty all day, man.
Yeah, granted, I think him and Marquise will have a good working connection just because they have done it. I think it's a little bit like the Derek Carr Devontae, like it's making it a bit smoother of a transition. But at the same time, I think, Sean, to your point, I guess your question, I think it's Kyler not getting them over that hump. But I think that they'll have that obstacle of missing their number one weapon, who is a monster. I mean, you could see Kyler's efficiency drops pretty heavily when Hopkins is not on the field. Yeah. With his injuries, in and out last year with Hopkins, that's kind of when the Cardinals started faltering a little bit. So, I think that they could make it. They're still a damn good team in Zoo, and I think that even if their passing game isn't there, the fact that they have Connor, is Chase Edmonds still there?
Chase Edmonds gone.
He's gone. He's gone. Yeah. But I still think, Kyler's running ability will always give them a dynamic. But can he hit the long ball to Marquise, and can Marquise catch the ball? And are they going to continue to utilize Zach Ertz, because they did pay him? So, that's another guy that they got to get involved.
That's early. Old man, Zach Ertz.
Yeah. And it's not an easy division, as we've mentioned multiple times. So
for sure.
All these teams have tough schedules. But the NFC is a bit easier to get into the wild card race than the AFC is this year. So keep that in mind, too.
That is for sure. NFC is definitely
That's a lot, yeah.
Path of least resistance when it comes to getting that wild card spot. Now, I'm with you guys on the Cardinals. The only way I can see maybe it flips is if Kyler, because he's just off embarrassment, tries to come in and is like, all right, I'm going to actually take the game serious, but I'm not going to say, I'm not going to place a bet and be like, yeah, I think Kyler's going to actually put in the work, this year, and just be like, yeah, he's going to get it done because he's embarrassed because of how he's been perceived. DeAndre being out for the first 6 games is tough because he's a true number one. And if you're going to ask me, like say, I had Marquise on my fantasy team last year, and he was solely the reason he is so. I actually do like him this season because I think the relationship between him and Kyler is nice. But he's one of the sole reasons, like the Detroit game where he dropped like 2 touchdowns, that kind of cost me. That was like a ripple effect. That's just kind of when my season went down the drain. But I will say that, with the DeAndre being out for 6 games, Chase Edmonds, he's not there anymore. James Conner, we'll see if he'll do that again. That's going to be tough to do. I'm a believer in their defense, though. I like Budda Baker. Isaiah Simmons, he's kind of been in that lukewarm range where he hasn't really, one of their top picks, he hasn't really came on yet. But if he does come on, that's a guy in then it's, I guess you could say, the second level of the defense that could come on. And then you still got J.J. Watt. Losing Chandler Jones wasn't nice, but I still believe in their defense somewhat. So Cardinals is, like you said, is going to be dependent on Kyler Murray. To Zoo's point, Seattle, you have DK, you have Tyler Lockett. If you want to look at it from an optimistic point of view, whoever the quarterback guru is in Seattle, maybe he gets in Drew Lock's head and Drew Lock becomes a viable quarterback. But I just don't see it happening. Don't see it happening. He had enough games in Denver with a lot of good weapons to where it was just like, I don't think that could be a factor in the division. So if we're talking about teams that could finish at the bottom, it's definitely the Seahawks. 49ers is Trey Lance or bust, because I'm pretty sure they're in a situation where they're moving on from Jimmy G.
Attempting.
You kind of got to have to, because you used all this draft capital up to get Trey Lance. You can't just have him part-time as a quarterback. And I've kind of been on the Jimmy G side of, he's not the most talented quarterback, does he? But he does win games somehow. Now, a lot of people will say it's because of his defense and the weapons he has around him, but somebody has to get them the ball. So he's done that to an extent. But I do agree with the evolution of, okay, we need to go to Trey Lance, see what he's got, because you can't have him sitting for a second season, and then it's just like you don't know what you got with him. And if we're talking about upside, if Trey Lance does hit, I think he's going to give them more of a dynamic situation than Jimmy G. So it's all going to be dependent on him because, like you say, defensively, the 49ers are always there. Fred Warner's a beast. Nick Bosa's a beast. Like, they just always have a good defense. So you're not even worried about the defense. Running back doesn't even matter. If you're a Shanahan and you're a coach, it doesn't matter who's at running back because he just always gets the most out of his running back. Yep. So you can put an undrafted free agent there, and he's going to get the job done. That's just how it goes with running back. So their running game is always going to be solid. And Trey Lance, to the point of, I think people should make this point, his running ability will probably be even more amplified with Debo and I guess you could say Elijah Mitchell. And I don't know if Trey Sermon's still there, but guys like that. The Rams, by default, you just because they won the Super Bowl, you can say they're number one, but they also did get better. They got Bobby Wagner, and they still, for my money, have the best defensive tackle and have the best corner. And if you have the best at both of those positions on that side of the ball, you're more likely than not going to win a bunch of games. So I'm not going to argue anybody that says the Rams. Matt Stafford proved a lot, I think, and he stabilized that and had them in a position to win the Super Bowl, and they won it. So Cam Akers coming back, another explosive weapon who can catch the ball at the backfield. I don't know. Do they still have Darrell Henderson at all? Or I'm not sure if they do or not.
I think they do. They're riding on Cam, though, if they can. I think that's
but just having two backs that's solid. So the Rams, I think, by default is going to be there. But I will say the 49ers are a team that when they play each other, they always play the Rams tough. Mm-hmm. So I think if they match up in whatever the division games and if maybe the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers end up winning those matches because I just think they match up well with the Rams. The physicality of the run game and, them managing Jimmy G managing the clock and managing plays, I think that just is a favorable matchup for them. So if I'm picking two teams, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be between the 49ers and the Rams.
Yeah.
But besides that, I just kind of feel bad for the Seahawks.
Yeah. If the 49ers are playing the Rams, and I don't know if that's their last game of the season, but if the Niners are a game out of the playoffs and their potential opponent is the Packers, you better believe they're whooping ass on the Rams because they want to play the Packers in the playoffs. So, yeah, I do think the Niners have probably a slightly better chance than the Cardinals, I think, for the wild card. Yeah. Just because I think their overall team consistency is there. But you could argue that they both have slightly uncertain quarterback situations, obviously with different levels of uncertainty. But that's kind of the big question mark for both of them.
And you know what's funny? We talk about Jimmy G and would anybody trade for him? I think he would be a really good fit with the Giants. I think he's better than Daniel Jones, and I think the Giants have a lot of there's a game manager. Nobody, he's not going to go out there and win the game. But when you look at the NFC East, and we're not talking about them right now, but just that division, I think outside of Dallas, and I'm a Jalen Hurts fan, but a lot of people don't believe in Jalen Hurts. Dude, I'm telling you, I think if you put a stable guy at the quarterback position with the Giants, I think that could really raise their ceiling, even though you wouldn't think of Jimmy G as a ceiling raiser. That would raise their ceiling in that division because Daniel Jones, I think the Giants have always had good pieces on their team. I just think the quarterback play hasn't been there. So if he were somehow to get with the Giants, Saquon's coming back, they got weapons on the outside. No, I don't know. I think Jimmy G, he has a spot in the league. At first, I said Carolina would have been a nice spot, but then they went and got Baker, so that kind of X's out. But, Atlanta, you want him or Mariota? Yeah. I would rather have Jimmy G. Well, I don't really want Mariota's a starter. What did he prove to be a starter in this league? That makes no sense.
What he proved? He's going to help them tank.
Yeah, there you go.
That has to be it.
He's going to help you lose a lot of football games.
Yeah, maybe they're a quarterback in the class of 23 because I think the class of 23 is a whole lot better quarterback-wise. So maybe that's who they're eyeing, somebody in 23 class. But, yeah, I think Jimmy G has a lot of – he gets a lot of flack, but he has a spot in this league. He's just not maybe his contract is not favorable, like you said, P. Bush. But,
too much money.
Yeah.
Not for that value.
What's crazy? He signed for $100 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chump change compared to what they got now. How many years ago was that? How many years ago was that?
Probably
3-4 years ago?
2018, maybe.
But switching gears, we're going to be starting a fantasy series this whole month of August with, the important positions. We're not going to do every, down to the detail of fantasy. You guys can go to ESPN and Fox, whatever, to go look at that. But we're going to give you some pointers and some things that we're looking at in terms of fantasy. And first off, we're going to start with the quarterback position. They're important positions, maybe not as much as running back, but they're positions that can win and lose you games. So we're going to ask the guys some of their thoughts on who are their favorites, which could be obvious, who are their sleepers, what are some things to look out for. And Zoo, I'm going to start with you, man.
Yeah. Every year, I always try to find that sleeper quarterback. My rule about sleeper quarterbacks, they're going pick 90 and after. Pick 90 and after. Okay. That's my rule. Anything below for that, that's usually one of those top 8, top 10 quarterbacks, man. So these guys are usually running quarterbacks. These guys are usually on the younger side that we haven't seen the potential yet, a.k.a. the Lamar Jacksons of the world and Patrick Mahomes, these types of dudes, the Jalen Hurts of the world, the Josh Allens of the world. These are the guys that people are this guy is just an athlete, man. Just an athlete, man. But He just got to throw a little passing touchdown to get that money, man. But this year is tough, man. I've been scouring, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, Trey Lance, nah, ain't gonna be Trey Lance, man. Like, I don't buy it, man. His game tape, man. I don't even see a little potential in Trey Lance. I don't see a little potential in it, but man. This is gonna be a sleeper, man.
Say it.
Wish we had a drum roll.
Trevor Lawrence, baby. Trevor Lawrence. Yep.
That's a big sleeper. That's a huge sleeper.
Trevor Lawrence, man. Because right now, with Trevor Lawrence right now, you could get 2 quarterbacks because you get Trevor Lawrence probably with one of your last picks.
Maybe undrafted.
Exactly. You can get him in like the 15th round right now because nobody taking Trevor Lawrence right now, man. You get
unless they're a fan.
First of all, you get Mr. Urban Myers out of there. So that's an automatic dub, man. You get a real head coach in there. Like, everybody's an upgrade over Urban Myers. Exactly. Doug Peterson, Super Bowl winning coach, man. Like, so that is number 1. Number 2, he get his little best buddy, Travis Etienne, back, man. It's a little dink and dunk guy, man. Got a little buddy. They got chemistry. Good running back. Good pass catching running back. So maybe he could be cheesy with a little 5-yard pass. The dude runs for a 30-yard touchdown, man. So a little more cheesy on the pass. You got Christian Kirk, man, on the outside.
Solid piece.
Yeah, so, like, they're adding some tools for Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence as a prospect. I do not believe that all these football analysts were so wrong about Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
they said this guy was the best like prospect since Andrew Luck because he's got the foundational size, the arm strength, the running ability, and with this Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going to be a bad team. So he's going to be a lot of opportunities for garbage time, a.k.a. the Jalen Hurts time, man. Yep. That's what I'm saying, man. The similar prototype. Like, we're talking about fantasy. We're not talking about reality right now. Like, these might be getting those little dink and dunks for touchdowns where they're down 20 points, but you take everything, man. You take everything in fantasy football because right now you get Trevor Lawrence late. And if you want to get another veteran quarterback that has, like, a higher floor, you get like a Derek Carr, maybe a Russell Wilson if you want to just hedge that. Like if he busts, okay, whatever. This is a lottery ticket because there's always one. I'm telling you, there's always just a sleeper that comes out of nowhere. It happens every single year. Every single year, there's always a sleeper, and I'm going with my man Trevor Lawrence. And
he's got the pedigree. He's got the pedigree.
Really late. So I'm gonna get a little lottery ticket, man. This is like a Mega Million ticket right now. I'm gonna buy that $2.86, man. Trevor Lawrence, man. I'm gonna cash that in and let him sit on my bench and see what happens, man. Because I am very, very interested to see how he does this year with a new system.
I guess I'll follow suit with my sleeper pick then, Zoo. You know who I'm gonna say.
I know.
And let me back this up. I do think Justin Fields, you could get him in the 16th round. And let me put it this way.
Or undrafted,
Yeah. Or undrafted, yeah. And I'm not saying you want to start him. He's not going to be a weekly starting quarterback. But if you have a bye week and you need someone to toss in, this is a guy, and I've been looking into this because, yes, I'm a Bears fan. I might be biased. I do think he has hella good talent, man. He has got a great long ball. He can throw on the run. Yes, he made some bad decisions last year, but it was his first year. Matt Nagy did not give him any opportunities. So, there you go, Zoo. He got the coach out of the way. Now he has a new head coach, new system. Him and Darnell Mooney are practicing every day. They're best buds. They only work together. He's the only person that stayed late with Fields to work with him late last year and into this year. But the difference for me this year is they have a really good running back room. So that takes a lot of pressure off of Justin Fields with David Montgomery. But they added the 2 best run blocking wide receivers in the league. Byron Pringle and N'Keal Harry. They're rated 1 and 2 respectively.
Pringle, I remember him.
Yep, they're rated 1 and 2 respectively in run blocking wide receivers. Justin Fields will not get much protection this year. Their offensive line sucks. He can make throws on the run, but he had those hella good runs, man, last year. That run against the 49ers on 4th and 9 where he scrambled around the entire defense for 30 yards to tie the game up. I think that he's going to get a lot of rushing ability. He's going to have over 700 yards rushing this year. I'm calling at least 4 rushing touchdowns. I think you could add a little bit of value there. He's going to throw some picks. That's totally fine. But I would argue that he has better weapons than Trevor Lawrence does down in Jacksonville. David Montgomery is a really good pass catching back. Cole Kmet's a solid young tight end that they enjoy playing with each other as well. I don't know, man. N'Keal Harry was drafted ahead of all those guys, but Bill Belichick never wanted to use him.
That's just Bill.
Never wanted to use him.
He's really bad at evaluating wide receivers.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a strong suit.
bad draft pick, but I want to see if he has the talent of a first rounder, somewhere different, somewhere where they might be willing to just take some more shots with him instead of just only using him to run 42 times against the Bills when they only passed twice. It's those types of the games that the Patriots play. So I do think Fields, I don't think you should start him. I'm not saying that, but I do think if you're looking for a rushing upside, that is going to be his strong suit this year. And I think that they'll try and use him more in an option type situation because that's the only way the Bears are going to be able to move the ball consistently. So,
let me ask you this, man. Justin Fields, you believe in his arm, man?
Absolutely.
You believe in it?
Hey, I think he has the best long ball.
That Justin Fields offense last year turned Allen Robinson into the biggest bust of a wide receiver ever, man.
Because he didn't like playing with him. That's what Allen Robinson said.
I mean, he was a rookie.
Darnell Mooney
probably don't want to play with.
Mooney
Allen Robinson, I don't want to play with Justin Fields as a rookie.
No, I don't think any veteran wants to.
No, unless you're just like a quarterback like Joe Burrow that comes in, and even Joe Burrow he didn't pop till his second year.
Yeah.
Well, he showed glimpses his first year. He just got injured.
Yeah. But you look at Darnell Mooney, the guy who was willing to work with him, and he ends up getting almost 1,100 yards and 5 touchdowns. So, I mean, that's not a bad.
And there's been a lot of Darnell. I've been seeing Darnell Mooney on every freaking, just if you're on Instagram, just scrolling. He's they keep calling him a sleeper, but I don't think he's a sleeper anymore.
Not anymore. No.
He's getting drafted in the top 60 right now. So,
yeah.
That's a pretty high draft pick right now.
He was the 22nd wide receiver last year in fantasy. I mean, he doesn't, he's a long ball guy. He's got great hands. I just think it's going to be, can he get enough protection to at least go through his reads? I think that'll help with his interception. But look, man, you're going to throw a ton of picks your rookie year. Peyton Manning threw as many interceptions as he did touchdowns his rookie year. And then he ended up throwing for 50, in one season. I'm not saying that that's going to be Fields someday, but you got to give him time. And I think at least he's gotten the learning ability underneath him playing half the season and starting the season last year. Unlike a Trey Lance, for example.
I will bring up too, if we're just comparing Fields and Lawrence, Fields, I think out of both of them had the best game. That I can't get that Pittsburgh game out of my head. He looked good in that Pittsburgh game, and that was on the road. He looked good in that game.
Monday night.
He drove them. It showed he was clutch. He was tough. He was getting hit around. He was making clutch throws. That showed me okay, what's crazy too is I don't even know, Jalen Hurts was a star last year, but I don't know if Jalen Hurts even had a game before last year
he was pretty awful at.
He was abysmal.
I don't know if he had any game that showed what Justin showed in that game. So I biasly, if I had to pick between Trevor Lawrence and for him being the number one pick and stuff, he didn't have a game at all that showed, even though his weapons are not as good. But I mean, cancel the weapons out. Darnell Mooney is a guy that's coming up, but Justin Fields didn't have any. Yeah, they have a better running game. So the Bears have a better running game. But I don't know, that Justin Fields game against the Steelers was something to look at. And I was like, okay, that could show something to where, if you want to just get him in a late round or get him undrafted, that'd be somebody nice to have on your bench. Because you just never know with the running quarterbacks, man. Ever since Lamar, I feel has came into the league, if you got a staff that's willing to adjust around the quarterback, you can get success.
Yep.
But it's all up to the coaching staff if they don't want to be stuck. If they want Justin Fields to be hey, drop back, well, then you're not going to get the best of Justin Fields. You're just not going to get the best of him.
He's I can't get any more than 1.5 seconds of protection. So what do you want me to do here?
Yeah.
So that's why he ended up chucking balls down the field half the time.
Yeah.
So.
But like I say, as a rookie, it's a guy, him and Trevor are two guys I would be all right, that. Those are not guys I would draft early, but, late rounds. My sleeper, and I was kind of going back and forth. I had Trevor Lawrence down, and I had Justin Fields down, but Jameis is a huge. I'm going with Wilson. I'm not going with Zach.
I thought you were gonna go with the Jet, man. I thought you were gonna go with the Jet.
Nah, couldn't do Zach. But Jameis, just because Alvin Kamara, we don't know how long he's going to suspend it. Let's just say it's 4 games. He'll be back. I don't think it's going to be a season-long suspension. So whenever he comes back, I feel it's just going to add to the weapons that they have. Michael Thomas is coming back. He's been off basically a year. Chris Olave, super deep speed guy who can get behind the defense. Jameis knows how to throw the long ball. And he's an Ohio State receiver, so I just feel they're just always polished. Marquez Callaway is kind of a bigger receiver, kind of, you call him flex type guy. That could be a factor for them. So,
forgetting Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis is another guy. Jarvis scares me though because I know he was hurt in Cleveland, and you could attribute that to maybe his production being slowed down. But I didn't like how he looked at the end of the year. So I do think he still has something in the tank. But I just, in terms of guys who I think is going to break that offense open, I think I have what's the guy I just said? Michael Thomas and Chris Olave above him. Like he could be a solid third down guy to get you out of trouble, to keep the chains moving. Yeah, to keep the chains moving. But I just think because of his injury history or whatever, I think he's going to be a little bit further down that depth chart. Yeah. But I just like the factor of him being the starter. There's no like Taysom Hill's the guy, Sean Payton infatuation with him. Like I think this is Jameis's team. And I think just how his game is, he likes to throw in that medium to high range in terms of just his passes. He likes to throw the ball down the field, and he likes to take chances. So I think a quarterback that's just going to be able to take chances and throw to his receivers, I like that option. Offensive line is really solid. And, if Alvin Kamara comes back, that's just going to be a huge boost because he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's going to be easy dump ball passes. So that's a guy that I really like as a sleeper. I don't know where I definitely wouldn't take him early, but he's a guy that I think will get drafted. I just don't know which round he would get drafted in.
And the other thing, Sean, they have a great defense, probably top 3 in the league.
Saints always have a good defense.
His volume of offensive possessions with field position, I mean, taking that into account, I think, I guess I'm just going to transition away to top quarterbacks. I think a lot of people back-to-back, quarterback leader Josh Allen, right? Mainly because he's over 700 yards rushing. He's scoring touchdowns, rushing left and right, can throw the deep ball, pretty much he can literally do anything, and he's massive, so he's hard to bring down. I mean, he's pretty much just a more athletic Big Ben. That's really what he is. He's just better Ben Roethlisberger athleticism-wise. But I'm actually eyeing Herbert to take over that number 1 spot this year. And I kind of have to attribute that, Zoo, to something I just made a point with Jameis, man. I think they bolstered their defense. I don't think they're going to give up as many points this year. So they're going to get better field position, more offensive possessions. But they still have a tough schedule. And a lot of teams are going to put them into a shootout. I think in their division, it'll be hard to stop anybody. So I'm not saying their defense will do that. But, man, if you look at like Mahomes, for example, his biggest upside was Tyreek Hill, man. You want to know how many big gainers and points he got from Tyreek Hill breaking off 60, 70-yard screen passes, right? That Patrick Mahomes gets credit for pretty much doing nothing. That is gone. I mean, now he's just got his consistent
Juju.
See, but Juju's not a scrub, but he doesn't have as much of the upside. Obviously, he's going to be almost treated more like kind of how they use Kelsey, up the middle, 10 to 12-yard routes, probably some bubble screens. I don't know. I mean, Sky Moore, they added that the rookie this year. Who knows what he'll be able to do? I think he left practice early today, so I hope he's all right. I think he had a hip injury. But I do think Mahomes he'll still be in that top 4 or 5. But I do have Jalen Hurts creeping up into that kind of high tier 2 level fantasy quarterback this year. Sean, I think that might have been your sleeper pick last year was Jalen Hurts. So shout out to Sean for that one. Damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think that there's just some quarterbacks that are going to be taking that next step. I think Derek Carr will have a much better year, even though he had a damn good fantasy season last year for his standards. But I still think he'll creep up. But I do think Joe Burrow will regress a bit, Zoo. I think he will regress to the mean a little bit. I think you made that point. I think they're going to start throwing some weird defensive schemes at him, and he'll be smart enough to adjust to him, but I think it's just not going to be as godlike of a performance as he was having last year. I don't know. Who you got at number 1, though? I want to hear yours, Zoo.
Oh, yeah. For me personally, man, you brought up Joe Burrows. I got to shout out to Joe Burrows for getting me a dub in one of my leagues last year when he got 5 touchdowns, man. When you had 5 passing touchdowns, that was unbelievable. Shout out to Joe Burrows. Shout out to Joe Burrows. But for number 1 quarterback, man, this year, Lamar Jackson, baby. Lamar Jackson, man. This guy looking like he's in great shape, man. This guy's going to be back at it at the running back position, man. He's going to be running like crazy. Like he got right now, because out of targets right now, you got Rashad Bateman and Mr. Big Mark Andrews right now, man. They lost Marquise Brown. And outside of that, what other targets they got? So I feel like they're going to be legit. I don't know who's going to be throwing it to. So he's going to be full 1,000-yard rusher time. Let's go. Lamar Jackson, MVP mode. Be that running back you're always destined to be. Be the best running back in the NFL and give me 1,000 yards rushing, man. Because that's what he's going to do. for them to win games, that's how you're going to get it done. Because you ain't going to be throwing 4,500 yards and passing to Rashad Bateman and dropping 1,400 yards. That ain't happening, man. Those are just nice complimentary players, man. Complimentary players, man. You got a little Mark Andrews in the red zone, who's actually cash money in the red zone last year. He had an unbelievable year last year. Outplayed Travis Kelce last year. He had a better statistical season than Travis Kelce. Rashad Bateman still young. I got my eye on him because he's the clear number one wide receiver.
Like
legit. Like the rest of the receivers, I don't even know who these guys are.
I have no idea.
And then you got J.K. Dobbins coming back from a torn ACL, so it'll probably take a year or two to recover from it to get fully back. I was huge on J.K. Dobbins with him out, and then Gus Edwards also coming back. So all his running backs are coming from catastrophic knee injuries. It's Lamar Jackson time, man.
Yeah, he's going to have to.
There's a reason why recently we saw Lamar Jackson, let's do that, and looks like 10 pounds of muscle, man. Because
they say he's up to 230.
Yeah. Oh,
he needed to.
There's a reason why.
That's crazy.
He's going to be running it, man. He's got to be durable enough to go through this season, man, because he's going to have to carry the team on offense like he had like in the past, man. Because those running backs, man, with those torn knees, I just feel like the coaching staff doesn't have entire trust with them right now because they're coming from a catastrophic injury. You shouldn't have full trust in them. Got to get the rhythm back. Got to get the scheme down. So they have a lot of things they have to adjust to. So Lamar Jackson, with that extra weight, RB time, baby. He's going to be playing two positions this year again.
Yeah.
Number one fantasy.
Sorry, so I had him classified in the RB discussion next week. But but yeah, I mean, he'll still get past. I think Mark Andrews will still get the red zone targets, and I think if one of those two running backs, hopefully it's Dobbins for my own dynasty fantasy football sake, if one of them ends up coming back, him or Gus, and playing really well, it only helps Lamar's rushing ability too. They can run options and have a legitimate threat, giving it to the running back or him keeping it. So yeah, I mean he's going to be top 5 no matter what. I think in fantasy, his upside and Herbert's upside for me, I think, are the two, because Josh Allen's probably still going to be the first quarterback off the board.
Yeah, he's going pretty much the exact same place as last year. Like he
and the year before that.
Yeah, exactly. He lived up to the hype for that. So right now he's going ahead of Patrick Mahomes, and Mahomes obviously mentioned no more Tyreek Hill, but you got to mention the downgrade from Tyreek Hill as a defense is Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yep. I don't know. He might look better with Mahomes.
Oh,
Who knows?
No.
But he might look better.
This dude's gonna get 2 catches, and if he gets one of those 40-yard catches,
it'll be 2 catches for like 88 yards or something.
and that'll be his best game. This dude got no potential. Like the dude is completely irrelevant in fantasy football. So I don't know about the weapons. Like I mentioned Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm like,
I'm not big on him at all.
He's just a night. Like I swear to God, he's more of a TikToker than a football player now, man. The dude's on social media more than the football field right now. So I don't like that. What's it called? That mental right now, man.
Travis Kelce might have some 20-catch games.
Travis Kelce,
he might have some 20-catch games.
Mahomes is gonna rely on Travis Kelce like crazy this year. Patrick Mahomes, statistically wise, we'll see what he's made out of without Tyreek Hill. We'll see if he can if he can pull this off without Tyreek Hill. God damn, man! Don't even need Tyreek Hill.
You know what that might speak to though? I think what that may speak to though is Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a mastermind, so I don't think it's going to be too shocking. I know Tyreek was a huge part of the offense, and maybe this is good for Patrick because now he's going to have to be able to play more of the field and find different weapons. But I think Andy Reid, if I had to bake on a coach, is going to be able to get Patrick in the best positions to spread the ball around. And Patrick has the arm talent to do it. I think Andy Reid could do that. So it wouldn't be shocking. I just don't think the explosiveness of their offense is going to be there with Tyreek. Because like you say, Patrick was doing a lot of, Kelce ain't open, and let me just chuck it to Tyreek and he'll go figure something out. So that is a huge luxury that he's going to lose. But I think they could figure it out.
They'll be fine in the end.
Yeah, because Patrick's ultra talented.
We're just looking fantasy wise.
Yeah, Herbert, I think, is the guy for me. Like I said, we never talk about Keenan Allen. He's a stud. Yep. Mike Williams, awesome. Eckler, he's just, I feel like, going to continue to improve. So just those 3 weapons along with his ability to be athletic and make, I guess, first down. I'm going to say he's like, running for 40, 50 yards, but he can get first downs and he can move the chain. So I think Herbert's just going to take that step. I mean, I don't see any other quarterback that's going to take a bigger step than him. Because like we said, we already know what we got with Lamar. We already know what we got with Josh Allen. Jalen maybe with AJ Brown. I still need to
He
just
got
see
some
more.
weapons, man.
He does have a lot of weapons. Like receiver, he's got 3 or 4 deep. Running back, not Miles Sanders, the dude. I had him last year. Gainwell. I think he may take a step. He's a nice pass catching guy. Yeah.
They love their.
So he does have a lot of weapons. It's all on Jalen to improve as a passer, but I think it becomes easier when you have AJ Brown.
Yeah, there's a reason.
He's got Goddard.
They got AJ Brown. For a reason.
Goddard.
They got AJ Brown for a reason. Just see what Jalen Hurts is capable of being a franchise quarterback.
Yeah,
I feel like that was the reason they got him.
Yeah.
The same reason that they got Tyreek Hill for Tua to see if he could get it done. Because we got weapons like Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. No excuses.
There's another possible.
What's their tight end? The other guy too. They got a tight end. Gesicki. Yeah.
Oh Jesus, that was an atrocity last year, man.
Yeah.
Jesus, the number of donuts that brother got in games, man, drove me nuts, man.
Well, that was mainly Tua. Let's be honest here.
And I think that's going to open up. That might open him up more because things that help tight ends is downfield threats. So if you got Tyreek, if you got Tyreek and he's going to take 2 guys, that's going to open up the tight end a lot in the middle of the field.
In the middle, for Gesicki. But I don't know, man.
Travis Kelce made a living.
Dude, last year watching the Dolphins, man, hurt my soul, man. I did not enjoy watching those games. So wishing Mike Gesicki give me 2 points, man. That's all I wanted.
Who would you rather take right now, Wilson or Tua?
Probably Tua.
More weapons. Man.
Wilson's Wilson's
weapons.
Wilson's got 3 weapons, bro.
Yeah, not gonna lie. Yeah, not gonna lie, man. Your boy Elijah Mitchell, man. Very interesting this year, man. Very interesting.
Third receiver, slot. Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, CJ Uzomah, the guy from Cincinnati, Breece Hall, and who's the other running back they took last year? They.
And having
if Wilson is any good, if he's any good, that could be an explosive offense. The Jets, we can get into this when we start talking about teams. The Jets, low key, they got a lot of talent on their roster.
They do.
They got a lot of freaking talent. Yeah, I might have been. If Zach Wilson, if he can play at all, dude, they might have a chance to make some noise because it's not like they have good receivers, they have good running backs. Offensive line is, I guess you could say, average to good. Defensive line is elite. Quarterbacks are elite. Like, they got a lot of freaking guys, and they drafted 3 guys in the first round.
Well, they won't win their division. I think we can.
They won't win it, but
and good luck this year, or even the next couple of years, trying to fight for that wild card in the AFC. That's the issue.
You know what scares me about Buffalo though? What if Stephon Diggs gets hurt? That changes their entire offense.
Yes, Stephon Diggs helped unlock Josh Allen.
They're not deep at receiver, so if he has to stay completely healthy,
he's gone.
You can have him.
Yeah,
he's not there anymore.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know who's their second receiver. He had a big game in the AFC Championship.
He had over 200 yards.
Yeah,
4 touchdowns.
But that's probably because Kansas City was like, "Who the hell is this guy? Like, who's this? Like, that's probably why he went for that many yards. They're like, wait, who's this guy?"
And Kansas City secondary
is iffy.
Last year,
that's what scares me about the Bills. Like, you don't plan on Stephon Diggs getting hurt, but it's just like if he gets hurt, like that, I think that completely changes. Because if you think about Allen's improvement too, is because of Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because remember, a lot of people 2 years ago were saying like, is Josh Allen any good?
Like, he's a nobody. He's a bust.
Yeah, and then Diggs came and he just all of a sudden became a top quarterback. So
you gotta give your young quarterbacks that one go-to wide receiver one.
Yeah,
to help unlock him. You need that one go-to.
Even though I do like James Cook, I think he's going to be nice because he's probably going to take over that running back room. He's probably going to take over and he can catch the ball at the backfield.
That's far enough, Rebel.
But yeah, it's definitely some sleepers with quarterbacks. A lot of guys we were talking about, you can get them later in the rounds or maybe even undrafted. So, but we're going to be starting this fantasy series. Next week we're going to be talking about other positions leading up to the beginning of the season. So you guys tune in for that. Make sure you tune in to Bullheaded_pod, putting a lot of great content up there, whether it's golf, football, basketball, baseball, the whole 9. I'm putting it up there. Quantro knows, follow that on YouTube, all the DSPs, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we're out.